In this podcast episode, Michael Malice delves into the complex and often brutal history of the Soviet Union, focusing on key figures like Lenin and Stalin. Malice, known for his provocative insights, offers a nuanced perspective on the ideologies and actions that shaped the Soviet regime, challenging common narratives and exploring the implications of totalitarianism. Malice begins by discussing Lenin's role in establishing the Soviet Union, emphasizing the stark contrast between the idealized image of Lenin as a visionary leader and the reality of his brutal tactics. He argues against the notion of good Lenin, bad Stalin, asserting that the seeds of Stalin's terror were sown during Lenin's rule. Lenin's willingness to employ violence and repression against perceived threats to his power is highlighted, with Malice citing examples of political purges, the establishment of concentration camps, and the use of secret police. He underscores that Lenin's vision of socialism was not merely theoretical, it was implemented with ruthless efficiency, leading to the deaths and deportations of countless individuals. The conversation shifts to the ideological differences within the communist movement, particularly between Lenin and Trotsky. Malice explains that Trotsky, who advocated for a worldwide revolution, found himself at odds with Stalin's concept of socialism in one country. This ideological split not only fueled political rivalry, but also led to Trotsky's eventual exile and assassination. Malice emphasizes that Trotsky, despite his intellectual prowess, was not immune to the violent purges that characterized Stalin's regime. The discussion reveals how power struggles within the Communist Party often overshadowed ideological debates, resulting in a climate of fear and betrayal. As the podcast progresses, Malice elaborates on Stalin's ascent to power following Lenin's death. He describes how Stalin manipulated the political landscape, suppressing dissent and eliminating rivals. The discussion touches on the infamous purges of the late 1930s, where Stalin systematically targeted old Bolsheviks, military leaders, and even members of the secret police. Malice notes that Stalin's brutality was not merely a continuation of Lenin's policies, but an escalation, as he sought to consolidate his power through terror. The sheer scale of the purges, with millions affected, is presented as a chilling testament to Stalin's ruthless ambition. Malice draws parallels between the Soviet Union and contemporary totalitarian regimes, emphasizing the pervasive nature of state control. He argues that totalitarianism thrives on fear and compliance, creating a society where dissent is not only punished, but also discouraged through social conditioning. The podcast highlights the psychological impact of living under such regimes, where individuals are compelled to conform to the state's narrative, often at the expense of their own beliefs and values. Malice's insights prompt listeners to reflect on the fragility of freedom and the importance of historical awareness in safeguarding against tyranny. The discussion also touches on the legacy of the Soviet Union and the lessons that can be drawn from its history. Malice asserts that understanding the past is crucial for recognizing the warning signs of authoritarianism in the present. He emphasizes the importance of hope and resilience, arguing that despite the darkness of history, there are always opportunities for change and renewal. The podcast encourages listeners to remain vigilant and engaged, drawing inspiration from the triumphs of those who resisted oppression in the past.